Hey guys, it's Vic Barry. What is going on? Today's video, how to make your YouTube studio highly productive. And these are the things I wish I knew before I ever started building this. So first up is your batteries. Have a charging station somewhere, but what I always do to make sure that I never have the problem of battery exhausted or a flat battery is I use a very simple process. And that's as easy as this. Charge your battery, and once it's fully charged, or if you have a selection of batteries, once they're fully charged, put them away and dump them. In my case here, it's a little IKEA Pegasus whiteboard thingamajig. I just put them into the little tub, and once they're in there, I know they are completely charged. Next up is have a cable drawer for your USB-C cables, for micro USBs, for HDMIs, for charging cables, for whatever type of cables you have. Even if it's like 5 or 6, have a drawer or a bucket or some little box that is specifically for cables. And I'll get to why all of these specifics are very important in a bit. Get yourself a desk organizer. There's insanely cool desk organizers out there. Little King Goods, not affiliated, do an amazing one. It's a little bit pricey, but I got this really cool one from the kids at Christmas and it works. So whatever you have, put it in there. It keeps everything neat and tidy, and you know always that certain things are always going to live in your desk organizer. So no more panic if you're running around trying to find anything. Remember how I spoke about specifics a second ago? Well, have specific places for specific things. I have specific things in each drawer here, so if I'm looking for a knife, I know I've got a bunch of knives in one specific drawer. They never leave that drawer. And once you get into the routine, and it's all about building habit, once you get into the routine of having things in specific spots, it's just muscle memory. You always know that drawer is going to have the USB cables, that drawer is going to have something else, that drawer is going to have something else, and so on. Next up is the recording process in your home YouTube studio. So first tip here really, and this is a huge one, whatever you can wall mount it. Lights, camera, action, whatever you can, just wall mount it, because if you've got a small space, it keeps the floor space clear and you're not going to be falling over tripods or cables. If you've got a small room, regardless of the size of any room really for that matter, then you're going to have trouble with audio reflections where things sound hollow and things are like echoey and kind of just doesn't sound good. And you can kind of fix it in post-production, but it's a pain in the butt and it may not work all the time. So if you've got a room that the audio isn't great, use this. This is a lav mic. This is a Saramonic mic. It's a lav mic. You can get one that plugs directly into the camera, or you can get one that is like this and it is wireless. Couple $100, but it's a good investment and it helps hugely with audio reflections because this is so close to where the sound comes out of your mouth. Then it's not going to really pick up the reflections. So a lav mic is a good investment if you're suffering with audio reflections or echo in your YouTube space. Next one I'm going to double up here, and that is your light settings and your camera settings. Once you get your light set up the way you want, wherever they're going to be, on the wall preferably, and once you get your camera set up, then you should really never have to change those. Use shortcuts or use remote controls, but once they're set up the way you like, for example, this is 1/50 f1.8, ISO is 100, I'm an S Cinetone. My lights are set to specific powers of dimness. Does that make any sense? So now I just turn on the camera and go. So I don't have to be fiddling with settings or anything like that. It just makes life that bit easier. Speaking of making life easier, okay, now the time will come where you don't want to wall mount everything, or you just want to move your camera from one spot to another. Maybe you want to take it off the wall and you want to put it on a tripod for one reason or another. If your camera has got the plate, or if it's got it on the cage, either way, buy yourself an Arcus Swiss plate. In some capacity, essentially what this is, it's a way that the camera just kind of screws in and it clamps on to the tripod or the mount wherever you're putting it. So it means you're not constantly screwing stuff. You just put it in and you twist the little knob dial and you're in. You're locked in and it's really rock solid. I use this all the time and it saves me so much hassle and time for moving the camera from one spot to another. See what I did there? Another spot? Yeah, nobody cares. Okay, so the next big tip here, right, is charge your batteries after every single use in your YouTube studio. Charge them each time, because you might go, oh yeah, I've only got like 55% left. I'll be okay for another video. And then that video comes and it like, boom, battery goes down and you're like, I need to charge another battery. I don't have any more batteries. I've got one battery. Charge your battery or your batteries every time after you use it. There might be a few exceptions that if the battery's at 90% or after the video, fair enough, but for the best part, charge them each time, because let me tell you, if your battery runs out while you're recording, it's killing the energy, you're annoyed, you're cranky, you're like, Aah! Just charge your batteries after every time. Speaking of every time, format your SD card every time. Same reason. You don't want to run out of space. You're like, oh yeah, I've got 20 minutes left. I'm fine. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got 19. Oh, I've got 5. Oh, okay, I've got what happens then? Like, you have to dump your footage, which is taking out the card, plugging it into the computer, back and forth. Again, it's killing your flow. And if it's killing your flow, it's killing your energy. And if it's killing your energy, it's killing your flow. And if it's killing all those things, it's killing your video. What about studio aesthetics, right? Here's the thing, it might be a big thing and we're not going to be set dressing everybody's home YouTube studio setup, but keep in mind, have stuff that's around you, that's in the background, that kind of reflects what you're about. So I've got some like camera gear up there and that kind of stuff. So it reflects kind of loosely what the channel is about, but at the same time, it should reflect your personality as well. Remember how we spoke about audio earlier on? Not everybody might have one of these lav mics, but here's the thing, the more furniture you have in the room, the more cluttered it is. But if you've got carpet, if you've got a couch, if you've got something, anything of those will absorb the audio in some capacity. So if you're starting out with like a crappy little shotgun mic or whatever, even the onboard camera mic, God forbid, it's going to help. Having a window in a YouTube studio is a huge advantage as opposed to not having a window in a YouTube studio. Obviously, good man, Vic. Thanks. But here's the thing, right? You cannot ever use or rely on a window for a light because the sun is constantly changing. So if you've got a window in a YouTube studio that you've got, use it for fresh air and airing the place out. Nothing else. Regardless of how small the space is, you have more than likely got 4 walls. You can get multiple angles on that small space.
Why am I speaking weird?
Multiple angles. Change up your shots every now and again. It's good for pacing, it refreshes the viewer's brain, and even in this 10x8 room, I can get a bunch of different angles. I've got a ton more tips to come, but so far, if you're enjoying the tips on how to make your YouTube studio highly productive, then please hit the like button, because you know what? If you do, that's going to show this video to more folks who will also get the same value that you got out of it. Right, next. Ever want to know how to supercharge your workflow in your YouTube studio? Well, the following is going to help you do all of that. First up, use something like HomeKit power sockets or Google Home sockets, whatever, Google Assistant. So basically the idea here is that you just make life easier, so you can walk in and you press a scene on your phone and your lights pop up. Everything that you need just from a couple of cheap power sockets, boom, they're on, you're good to go. This one is a real cliche, but trust me, over the last couple of years, I've got completely like, clutter, keep it away from me. Not the most tidiest person in the world, but when you have a clutter-free desk or a clutter-free workspace when you're putting your video together, it means the world, because it's just nice to sit down where something isn't just covered in God knows what, right? So clutter-free desk. Set up editing sessions. No matter what software you're using, set up an editing session. What I mean by that is that you've got one kind of Premiere Pro project or a DaVinci Resolve project or a Final Cut project, and it's got all the things in there that you need. It might have the sound effects. It might have some music if you've got your own music that you use on a regular basis. It's got motion graphics. It's got text that you use all the time. Have all that ready to go just in one session, and then when you have it, open it up. When you're about to make a new video, save it out as the title of that new video, and then work off of that newly, freshly saved title. And you've got all your bits in there ready to rock. Speaking of sessions, set up a thumbnail session. Maybe you've just got some brand colors that you use all the time. Just have one thumbnail template ready to go. Save it out as something else once you're working on that one, and then boom, everything is there ready for you to crush it, because as we all know, thumbnails are hugely important. Right? You did know that, right? Yeah. If you want to see a full tour of all the gear that I use in this tiny 10x8 studio, then click here and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, don't stop fighting for yourself.